You must first activate the weapon systems before you can use your weapons. The default key is Tab. The ship's engine operates at 50% of its maximum capacity when the weapons are online. You can fire the active weapon group with left mouse button. You can lock the target with middle mouse button. You can launch missiles with spacebar when you have a locked target. You can divide the weapons loaded on the ship into 2 groups, and you can activate these groups with the 1 and 2 keys while piloting the ship. Each group must have the same weapon classes. The weapon at the top of the weapon group is the primary weapon, and the weapons below it are boosters. In the group hierarchy, the primary weapon uses all the stats and bonuses completely, the weapons below it operate at less of their maximum power. You can see the effect of weapons in groups from the ship's stats interface or services panel. You can manage the groups from the services panel. By deactivating the ship's engine, you can make the ship drift into space. Drifting ships are more difficult to hit by enemy ships. Ship power is evenly distributed across 3 systems: engine, defensive systems, and offensive systems. You can change this distribution while piloting the ship. After docking a station, you can use the services panel to manage the components. You can unequip the installed components by clicking. The list on the right shows the upgrade components in your cargo. You can load them on the ship by clicking them. Each ship has different perks. You can see them on the ship interface. When purchasing a ship, you can view the ship's perks from the perks list. You can use perks with 3, 4 and 5 keys. Two different class launchers can be installed on the ship: missile pods and torpedo sets. You can install them on the ship from the service panel. You can use the service panel to load missiles or torpedoes on the sets. You can press the spacebar to deploy a rocket when you have a locked target. You can activate the pursuit mode while fighting with fighter-class ships. In this mode, the maneuvers of the pursued ship are imitated by your ship. That makes following the target ship more easily. To activate pursuit mode, first, lock the target ship. Then, align a locked ship with the crosshair and hold the right mouse button to start the pursuit. The pursuit ends automatically if the target ship is out of sight. By positioning your crew members aboard the ship, you may give them assignments. Each crew member has one active and several passive abilities. The ship can use all active and passive abilities of the crew member you have designated as the co-pilot. The only skills that other members can utilize are their passive ones. Drag and drop the spaces to rearrange the team members' positions. A capital ship cannot be operated by a single person. You need at least 3 crew members to operate it. These ships can only be purchased from main stations and stations with a capital dock port. They can only be left in places with a capital dock and cannot be called to other stations. So, when you want to retrieve the ship, you must go to the last station where you docked it. For docking these ships, you need to align them only on the capital dock deck. Capital ships can be equipped with 2 types of weapons, cannon, and static turrets. Cannons are weapons with low projectile speed but high damage, making them highly effective against other large ships and buildings. Static turrets are automatic weapons that fire rapidly and are effective against fast-moving ships. There are 2 firing modes available for capital ships. One is free aim mode, and the other is standard firing mode. Each cannon has a crosshair, and a red crosshair means that the turret cannot see the target and cannot fire. Every spacesuit has gravity boots. When you are at a location with gravity, you can toggle gravity boots with G key, otherwise, gravity boots will be activated automatically. You can use gravity boots as a jetpack on planetary surfaces. In the talents interface, perks with an asterisk in the upper left corner are active perks. After learning these perks, you can add them by dragging and dropping them into the action bar. You can activate these perks by using their shortcut keys during the game. To summon your ship on planet surfaces, first activate the cursor. Find your ship in the drop-down list by clicking the ship icon in the top right menu. Then summon your ship with the Call Ship command. The Sun and its orbiting planets form solar systems. Clusters of multiple solar systems form sectors. Every registered system has a stargate. It is possible to travel between systems using these stargates. To start warp, first, open the scanner interface. Here you can see the locations to warp. Then set a target by clicking it. After choosing a target, close this interface, find your chosen target in space, and lock it. Alternatively, you can activate your ship's warp drive while you haven't selected a warp target yet. In this way, you can see the warp points in the system and you can choose your target manually. To use Stargates, you must first have a registered route. For this, first, open the Galaxy Atlas. Select a system and press Set Route. Press H to activate the mouse cursor, and select the Stargate from the list in the right corner. When your permission is approved, a path will be drawn for you. When you follow this path to the end, Stargate sends you to the next system on the route. You can also jump to systems within the same sector without using Stargate. To do this, first make sure that no warp target is selected. If there is a warp target selected, clear it first. Then find the solar system you want to go to, and lock it with the middle mouse button. At the end of the align process, initiate system jump. You can enter the planet directly by ship. However, this takes you to an estimated point on the planet's surface. If there is a specific place you want to land, first activate the warp drive with the B key while in planetary orbit. Then lock on where you want to go. Finally, boost thrusters and enter the atmosphere. Piloting a ship on the planet's surface and piloting it in space have the same mechanics. Only, while on the planet's surface, it may be more difficult to control the ship as it is exposed to friction and wind. You can use warp drive as navigation on the planet's surface. To exit the planet, it will be enough to fly the ship direct to space. You can toggle landing gear with the N key. When the landing gear is deployed, align the ship and hover down as you approach the landing site. The ship will dock when the landing gear collides with the surface. If you have trouble finding an empty landing pad, you can interact with the station and request it to reserve you a landing pad. To summon your hoverbike on planet surfaces, first activate the cursor. Find your ship in the drop-down list by clicking the ship icon in the top right menu. Then summon it with the Call Hoverbike command. You can get on it by pressing the E key and get off by pressing the G key. You can use the hoverbike weapons by pressing the LMB. Player levels are divided into 3 titles: Pilot, Soldier, and Adventurer. Combat with ships and ship missions grant pilot experience. Combat with character and third-person shooter missions grant soldier experience. Side activities such as mining and exploration grant adventurer experience. You earn attribute points every time you level up. By distributing them, you can activate perks that depend on that attribute. Every signal reverberates in space. To find the signal, we must track these echoes. We use catcher probes for this. Simply clicking will launch the catcher probes toward the solar system's core. When the probe reaches the system center, it starts scanning. When the catcher probe finds echoes, it not only displays those echoes but also the potential signal region. It is required to track down echoes to determine the source of a signal. When echoes are first detected, they have very low signal strength. The first step is to make these weak signals stronger. We use booster probes for this. Drag and drop the booster probes to the proper location to launch them. When the booster probe reaches the area, an interface will appear. In this interface, you can specify the power and area of effect of the booster probe. This is very important. Echoes with signal strength less than 0 or greater than 20 are lost. Our goal is to keep the echo power close to 20. These echoes must be brought closer to their source to stabilize the signal. We use merger probe for this. Drag and drop the merger probe to the proper location to launch it. When the merger probe reaches the area, an interface will appear. You may adjust the region of impact and echo speed in this interface. This is very important. Each movement decreased signal intensity. The faster they go, the more signal strength they lose. They should be brought closer to their sources before echoes drop below a signal value of 0. Let me give you some advanced tips while watching the whole process from the beginning. You can monitor the total echo signal strength from the catcher probe interface. As the effect areas of the probes increase, their accuracy decreases. It can add more unpredictable values to the signal. For instance, when the booster probe's effect area is very high, it can give the signals A+1 value as well as A+5 value and make them lost. The high scanning area and probe power increase the damage rate of the probes. You can repair and buy new probes from the service interface at stations. Destroyed ships may drop their cargo. You can see all the cargo around by clicking the crate icon in the top right menu. After scanning the cargo, you select the items you want to take in and press the Send Probe button. If there are multiple cargoes, you can combine all of the in one cargo by pressing the Combine Crates button. You can manage your ships from the Ship Manager consoles. You can use the Call Ship interface to change the current ship. You can use this console to rename your ships. You can use the Transfer Items interface to transfer the components or ship cargo to the bank or other ships. To engage in trading, you'll need a trading ship, which can be purchased from either complexes or trade hubs. Each container carrier on a trading ship is equivalent to one inventory slot, and trade items can only be loaded onto one container carrier with a maximum of 20 items. It's important to note that trade goods containers cannot be loaded onto ships outside of the trade class. Each sector has a trade hub, and there are complexes that produce trade goods specifically for each trade hub in the sector. You can view them on the Galaxy Trade interface. You can see how much surplus stock each trade hub has under the willing to sell section, and how much demand there is for an item under the willing to buy section. As the demand for a product increases, its price will also rise. Trade goods with surplus stock will have lower prices. A Galaxy stocktake is conducted every half hour. With this stocktake, the new stock status of the system, supply, demand calculations, and related prices are redefined. You can buy and sell trade goods from trade hubs. Additionally, you can purchase them from the complexes in that sector at a 9% discount without any shipping costs.
Okay, I guess vaccine's not implemented yet.
You can define your squad by dragging and dropping the soldiers you choose from the faction interface. You can summon your squad with the F1 key. To give orders to the ships in your squad, you can first select the squad with F1 and then give commands. When a station is under attack by an enemy, this notification interface pops up. You can get more information about the attack by pressing the management button. To send soldiers to the attack, you can select the generals you want to deploy from the Available for Deployment section and confirm them with the Accept button. You can press the Set Route button on the notification interface to get to the battlefield faster. To start a raid on a system, open the scanner interface and press Toggle Raid Mode. Add your generals to the raid, select the general from the Available for Deployment list. To recall a general, press and hold the Warp Away button in the In-Raid panel. To position generals within the system, click on the general and then select the desired location to send them. Once ready, select the raid goal, confirm it, and start the raid. To end the raid, press and hold Flee button in the scanner interface. The level and number of ships in the system depend on the system level and security level. Use this to capture a system, but ensure that there are no other stations belonging to a different faction in the system. If there are, conduct an operation on the station first, and then capture the remaining defenders in the system. You can send generals to different locations during the raid runtime. When all buildings are captured, the system is yours. The goal of plunder raids is to loot trade ships in the system. Your generals will actively go to the location of the trade ships and loot them. The system's security also sends reinforcements at intervals, so raids must be completed quickly and end before reinforcements increase.
Okay, so there are all the tutorials for Spacebourne 2. Enjoy watching them. I certainly will. Of course, I'm Erik Malkavian. And this is the tutorials, the video tutorials for Spacebourne 2. Enjoy. Goodbye.